Yo, what's going on, family? Pleasure to have you all here. My name is Michael Music, and I am reading Think and Grow Rich, and we are near the end of the book. And today we got a really interesting topic that we're going to be discussing, and it's among the six ghosts of fears. And the fear that we're going to be talking about today is the fear of death. And this is an interesting one, right? Like, who am I to speak upon this? And the good news is I don't have to know what's going on. I just get to read this book and share my thoughts. So that's what my plan is today. I guess we'll get right into it. I don't really have anything else planned. Um so if you are reading along, I'm on page 350. And if you, before I get started, if you want to find any of the recordings, I basically dove into every one of these chapters pretty in depth. And I dove into them. They're all on my YouTube channel. You can just search up Michael Music, spell it how you spell my name, and you'll get all of this stuff. So I put it out there. Hope it can benefit you. And who knows? Maybe it benefits someone 1,000 years down the road. That'd be pretty dope. So, with that being said, we're on page 350. The fear of death. Now, Napoleon Hill says, to some, this is the cruelest of all the basic fears. The reason is obvious. The terrible pangs of fear associated with the thought of death, in the majority of cases, may be charged directly to religious fanaticism. So called heathen or heathen, whatever that word is, are less afraid of death than the more civilized. For hundreds of millions of years, man has been asking the still unanswered questions: whence and whither, where did I come from, and where am I going? So I underlined those two sentences. Where did I come from, and where am I going? Um, what is it? Someone said in terms of religion, like their religion is pretty simple. They know that they came from a place and that they're going to a place, and that's that. And I like that because, like, why overcomplicate it? Like, who knows where the heck I'm going? During the darker ages of the past, the more cunning and crafty were not slow to offer the answer to these questions for a price. Witness now the major source of origin of the fear of death. Come into my tent, embrace my faith, accept my dogmas, and I will give you a ticket that will admit you straight away into heaven when you die, cries a leader of sectarianism. Remain out of my tent, says the same leader, and may the devil take you and burn you throughout eternity. Eternity is a long time. Fire is a terrible thing. The thought of eternal punishment with fire not only causes man to fear death, it often causes him to lose his reason. It destroys interest in life and makes happiness impossible. Okay, I want to pause on that paragraph, right? Like that, let's just be straight up about it. That idea of, oh shit, like, am I gonna go to hell forever? Like that's not even fun. Like whether it's true or not, I'm not believing that stuff because that does not make me uh enjoy life at all, to be honest. It's like, oh crap, like after this, like it's just fires and pits. So understand that Napoleon Hill says the thought of eternal punishment with fire not only causes man to fear death, it often causes him to lose his reason. It destroys interest in life and makes happiness impossible. Okay. I'm debating on whether I go into this topic or not right now. But since it's on my mind, I'm gonna. Okay, so there's this book. It is also written by the same author who wrote this book, Napoleon Hill. It's called Outwit the Devil. I'm gonna bring it next time I talk about it so that I can show you guys the cover of it. And in that book, it's basically an interview between Napoleon Hill and the devil, right? And the devil explains that he uses some religious leaders to pass on the fear of him, right? He doesn't beg anyone to believe in him. He says that's for his opposition, which is God, but he has these religious instructors just plant the seed of the fear of him, right? And you notice that a lot of people that believe that they have the answers, that their religion's right, they'll be like, if you don't believe what I believe, then you're gonna be absolutely screwed forever after in the afterlife, right? Those people are unfortunately not preaching the right stuff. I'll leave it at that, right? They're literally doing the devil's work for him by preaching fear so that people can fear him and fear eternal punishment. And I say that to say that all that stuff is false, right? That's absolute BS. Um, I guess I might as well have to read Outwitting the Devil one day just to like get that message out there for people to understand. But it's a bunch of garbage basically that you're gonna have to go through this eternal punishment. That is just horrible to think about. Even if I'm wrong, like the thing is, I could be absolutely wrong, but I am much happier being wrong and being positive about it than I am about thinking that something like that's going to happen. I'm going to leave it at that. All right. So, reading along page 351, Napoleon Hill states that during my research, I reviewed a book entitled A Catalog of the Gods, which were listed the 30,000 gods which man has worshipped. Think of it, 30,000 of them represented by everything from a crawfish to a man. It is little wonder that men have become frightened at the approach of death. While the religious leaders may not be able to provide safe conduct into heaven, nor by lack of such provision allow the unfortunate to descend into hell, the possibility of the latter seems so terrible that the very thought of it lays hold of the imagination in such a realistic way that it paralyzes reason and sets up the fear of death. So he's saying that whether we're right or not, right? Like maybe I am wrong, but like the mere thought of eternal punishment in hell lays hold of the imagination in such a realistic way that it paralyzes reason and sets up this fear of death. In truth, no man knows and no man has ever known what heaven or hell is like, nor does any man know if either place actually exists. This very lack of positive knowledge opens the door of the human mind to the charlatan, so he may enter and control that mind with his stock of ledger domain and various brands of pious fraud and trickery. Okay, there's a lot of complicated words in this sentence. This very lack of positive knowledge opens the door of the human mind to the charlatan, so he may enter and control that mind with his stock of ledger domain and various brands of pious fraud and trickery. I gotta ask you guys what that means. That's it's truthfully it's too many complicated words for me to say like, oh, this is what it meant. Okay, the fear of death is not as common now as it was during the age when there were no great colleges and universities. Men of science have turned the spotlight of truth upon the world, and this truth is rapidly freeing men and women from this terrible fear of death. Okay. You ever hear the line that the truth will set you free? Right. So as What's cool about it is as you get more educated on, science, colleges, whatever it is that you're learning, you start to like actually uncover the truth, and that kind of sets you free from these false beliefs that they planted in our minds when we were much younger. The young men and women who attend the colleges and universities are not easily impressed by fire and brimstone. Through the aid of biology, astronomy, geology, and other related sciences, the fears of the Dark Ages, which gripped the minds of men and destroyed their reason, have been dispelled. Okay, so I want to pause there. I guess the best thing to really get over this fear of death is just understanding. And I may not be the person that you get the understanding from. Napoleon Hill may not be the best person you get understanding from, but that's what's so cool about just like continuously reading books and you know bouncing off different ideas. I would say that helped shape my mind because I can never go into a book fully believing everything an author has to say, right? I have to like be like, okay, I like these parts of what he has to say, and these parts from another book, or this parts from another mentor. And I notice as like I start to like really dive deep into just reading and whatnot, that this fear has slowly but surely kind of diminished the more I got understanding. When I was a kid, though, however, and it was like, what they said what they said, right? Like, oh, if you sin, like, good luck, my friend, like you are so screwed. And then like it's like, oh my God, like I don't know any better. So I would say don't listen to what I have to say, or don't take in what I have to say about death or anything about the fear. But I would say that the best way to overcoming this fear is just simply understanding, because that's really what it is. No one knows what happens after you pass away. So it is really up to you to decide that. Okay, page 352. Insane asylums are filled with men and women who have gone mad because of the fear of death. This fear is useless. Death will come no matter what anyone may think about it. Accept it as a necessity and pass the thought out of your mind. It must be a necessity, or it would not come to all. Perhaps it is not as bad as it has been pictured. Right? What's that saying? Um, you can't avoid the thing. You can't avoid death and taxes. That's like guaranteed, right? Like well, at the end of the day, we're all gonna die. No one knows how much longer we have. We know how long we lived, and we don't know how much longer we have. But at the end of the day, we're gonna die, right? And like if everyone, there is not a single person on this planet that like gets to escape this death, right? And I think just from what I've read and my beliefs, that the people that truly understand that and accept it, they think of death not as a bad thing, so to speak, but just as a transition, right? Like what's that law of science? No energy can be created nor destroyed. It just changes, right? So like even though you may pass away, you're not gonna just get destroyed. Like that's just against the laws of physics right there. You have to understand that no energy can be created nor destroyed. That is an absolute law. It's just energy gets changed, right? So all you're doing is transitioning from the physical to whatever's next. Okay. Oh, Napoleon Hill. Napoleon Hill actually goes into this right now. I didn't realize that. The entire world is made up of only two things: energy and matter. In elementary physics, we learned that neither matter nor energy, the only two realities known to man, can be created or destroyed. Both matter and energy can be transformed, but neither can be destroyed. Okay, so that's so funny that I accidentally said that paragraph before. But let's put it this way, right? There's two elements in this world, two main elements. It's energy and matter, right? So if we are in the physical, what is that? We're in matter, right? And if we die, we're going to transition. We're not going to be created nor destroyed. So what are we going to transition into? Right? If we go from matter or the physical, what are we going to transition into? It's going to be energy, right? And no one knows. I don't know what that's going to look like, but it's simply a transition from one form of energy to another form of energy. That's just how science is pretty much. So that's that. Bottom of page 352. Life is energy if it is anything. If neither energy nor matter can be destroyed, of course, life cannot be destroyed. Life, like other forms of energy, may be passed through various processes of transition or change, but it cannot be destroyed. Death is a mere transition. So I underlined that paragraph. So I'm going to read it again because that's powerful stuff what he's saying. Life is energy if it is anything. If neither energy nor matter can be destroyed, of course life cannot be destroyed. Life, like other forms of energy, may be passed through various processes of transition or change, but it cannot be destroyed. Death is a mere transition. Right? So if you think of death as a simple transition, then it kind of takes away, all the negative of death, right? Like think about the law of polarity. Just as bad as it is also just as good. Like at the end of the day, it just is, right? So if you view death as like some horrible, 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 scary, scary, scary thing, then on the flip side of the coin, due to the law of polarity, it is the most blessed, 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 blessed thing also, right? It just is, right? Like we're all going to experience it. It just is. And it's all about how you look at it. If death is not mere change or transition, then nothing comes after death except a long, eternal, peaceful sleep, and sleep is nothing to be feared. Thus, you may wipe out forever the fear of death. Okay. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Like, let me know if there's anything you would like to add to this. This is a big subject, right? I'm a 22-year-old kid who just graduated college that is sharing this information with you. I found this fascinating. It has wiped out personally the fear of death for me. Now, that's not saying that I'll do some reckless stuff to get injured, right? Because like I know how long I've been here and I don't know how long I have left. It's everyone's hourglass is different. However, I'm not scared, right? Like I obviously don't want to die. I got a lot of things I got to get done while I'm here. But hey, when I die, it is what it is. And for me personally, I definitely felt like this book has helped me out understand death and understand and conquer the fear of death. So I want to hear from you guys if this has changed your viewpoints on death and whatnot. And if it didn't, like, let me know if there's another perspective that you have, right? Like, I'm sure, who knows, like, how long this video will be up. Like, let's say 1,000 years. Like, there's some person that comes up is like, bro, like, you have it all wrong. And, we'll start a conversation from there. But for now, we're going to now talk about the symptoms of the fear of death. Damn, this stuff. Okay, yeah. We got some ways to go. I gotta stop talking. Symptoms of the fear of death. The general symptoms of this fear are the habit of thinking about dying instead of making the most of life, due generally to lack of purpose or lack of a suitable occupation. This fear is more prevalent among the aged, but sometimes the more youthful are victims of it. The greatest of all remedies for the fear of death is a burning desire for achievement backed by useful service to others. Okay, so the greatest of all remedies for the fear of death is a burning desire for achievement backed by useful service to others. And Napoleon Hill goes on to explain a busy person seldom or barely has time to think about dying. He finds life too thrilling to worry about death. Sometimes the fear of death is closely associated with the fear of poverty, where one's death would leave loved ones poverty stricken. In other cases, the fear of death is caused by illness and the consequent breaking down of the physical body resistance. The commonest cause of the fear of death are ill health, poverty, lack of appropriate occupation, disappointment over love, insanity, and religious fanaticism. Okay, so what'd you learn? What'd you like from that section, right? Like the symptoms and the cure, right? Like what is the cure for the fear of death? What is at least one cure, one great cure for the fear of death? And I'll just say it, a burning desire for achievement backed by useful service, right? Like how can I be thinking about dying when I'm so focused, when every part of my consciousness is focused on doing better in terms of, setting up my dreams or helping out people and being useful service wise, right? So yeah, that answers that question. What other ways, I guess, could you stop this fear of death, right? Like what's another way to just eliminate it? And we said it before, right? It's understanding that death just is, it's going to happen, and that the laws of physics state that energy cannot be created nor destroyed. So therefore, you're not going to be eliminated. You're just going to transition. So that's two little things, or maybe big things, depending on how you look at it, that can overcome the fear of death. Now we're going to go on to the bottom of page 353 in the deluxe version called Old Man Worry. Worry is a state of mind based upon fear. Okay, I got to pause there. Here we talk about the state of mind again, right? We talked about how money consciousness is a state of mind, and now worry is also a state of mind based upon fear. It works slowly but persistently. It is insidious and subtle. Step by step, it digs itself in until it paralyzes one's reasoning faculty, destroys self confidence and initiative. Worry is a form of sustained fear caused by indecision. Therefore, it is a state of mind which can be controlled. Let's pause there. What causes worry, right? What causes worry and why can it be controlled? Worry is a sustained fear caused by indecision. So going back to, I think it's chapter 8, the seventh principle to riches, decision, that shows me just how important it is, because if I don't decide definitely on something, that indecision will lead to worry. And worry, understand, is a state of mind, right? So it's all about your state of mind. And we're reading this book. Why are we reading this book? To develop a state of mind known as money consciousness. And we can't have that state of mind known as money consciousness if we're in a state of mind known as worried. So we do want to essentially control this. An unsettled mind is helpless. Indecision makes an unsettled mind. Most individuals lack the willpower to reach decisions promptly and to stand by them after they have been made, even during normal business conditions. Okay, so this one's hitting me, right? Like most individuals lack the willpower. What is willpower? To reach decisions promptly and to stand by them after they have been made. Yeah, I'll be straight up with you guys. I have gone back on a few decisions that I've made, and going back on them causes this unsettled state of mind for me, the state of mind known as worry, right? So that's where it comes into place. Like understanding that chapter on decision is so critical. And I'm not saying I'm an expert on it, but I am saying that it's something that I definitely value and think is worth studying over and over and over and over again. Okay. During periods of economic unrest, such as the world recently experienced, we're going into a recession, the individual is handicapped not alone by his inherent nature to be slow at reaching decisions, but he is influenced by the indecision of others around him who have created a state of mass indecision. Okay, at the time of this recording, what's the date? It's like June 22nd, 2022, right? They say on the news we're going into a recession. That's out there. But what is that really? It's a state of mind of the masses of indecision, and it's going to affect the markets, right? So and that's because of the mass indecision. I think that word is so incredible. Mass indecision. A whole group of people are looking at other people. None of them know what to do. They're all in a state of mass indecision, and just chaos is going to come out of that, basically. Okay, but it's just interesting because this book was written way back in the 1930s, and here we are in 2022, and it's the same thing, right? Like someone could watch this video probably 1,000 years from now. We're in the future. Technology has advanced so far, and maybe the same exact principles are happening because it's just history is repeating itself. Okay, continuing on, page 354 in the deluxe version. During the Depression, the whole atmosphere all over the world was filled with a forenza and worryitis, the two mental disease germs which began to spread themselves after the Wall Street frenzy in 1929. There's only one known antidote for these germs is the habit of prompt and firm decision. Moreover, it is an antidote which every individual must apply for himself. We do not worry over conditions once we have reached a decision to follow a definite line of action. What's that Michael Jordan quote? He said like something, when I made a decision, I never had to think about it again. I've been absolutely not sure what that quote has meant for so long, and until I read these words that Napoleon Hill states is, we do not worry over conditions once we have reached a decision to follow a definite line of action. I'm gonna ask you guys, what does that mean to you? What do you think about when you hear that quote? That you don't have to worry over any conditional circumstances and um, outside things once you have reached a decision to follow a definite line of action. So I guess another question is, what is that definite line of action, right? That goes back to your definiteness of purpose. And it's a shame that he doesn't, have a whole chapter on definiteness of purpose. However, in the future, I definitely plan to go over another one of his readings on definiteness of purpose, just so I can understand, what is my definiteness of purpose more clearly, right? So that I don't have to worry about like these decisions, these principles that all line up. I once interviewed a man who was to be electrocuted 2 hours later. The condemned man was the calmest of some 8 men who were in the death cell with him. His calmness prompted me to ask him how it felt to know that he was going into eternity in a short while. With a smile of confidence on his face, he said, "It feels fine. Just think, brother, my troubles will soon be over. I have had nothing but trouble all my life. It has been a hardship to get food and clothing. Soon I will not need these things. I've never felt fine ever since I learned for certain that I must die. I made up in my mind then to accept my fate in a good spirit." As he spoke, he devoured a dinner of proportions sufficient for 3 men, eating every mouthful of the food brought to him and apparently enjoying it as much as if no disaster awaited him. Decision gave this man resignation to his fate. Decision can also prevent one's acceptance of undesired circumstances. I'm going to repeat that because that's so interesting. Decision can also prevent one's acceptance of undesired circumstances. What does that quote mean to you? What does decision prevent? Again, and why does it prevent one's acceptance of undesired circumstances? Why does a firm and definite decision with no going back on it do that? The 6 basic fears become translated into a state of worry through indecision. Okay, understand we're talking about states again. Here he comes back to the state of mind. And the 6 basic fears, this is the last of the 6 basic fears that we're touching up on, get translated into a state of worry through indecision. So everything really relates back to it's so interesting. Chapter 8 is on decision. It's the 7th principle towards riches. However, it's the preceding principle of everything. It's like a firm and definite decision. That is absolutely wild. So decision is something I just even if I don't get it, even if you don't get it right now, just understand that decision is so key. So relieve yourself forever of the fear of death by reaching a decision to accept death as an inescapable event. With the fear of poverty by reaching a decision to get along with whatever wealth you can accumulate without worry. Put your foot upon the neck of the fear of criticism by reaching a decision not to worry about what other people think, do, or say. Eliminate the fear of old age by reaching a decision to accept it not as a handicap, but as a great blessing, which carries with it wisdom, self-control, and understanding not known to youth. Acquit yourself of the fear of ill health by the decision to forget symptoms. Master the fear of loss of love by reaching a decision to get along without love if that is necessary. I gotta talk about that paragraph. That was actually possibly, the most powerful paragraph I've ever read, right? So he just conquered. We just talked about for the past few episodes all 6 major fears, right? There's 6 ghosts of fears that we talked about, and essentially he just eliminated every single one of them in that paragraph, right? And so, obviously I'm sure you heard the word decision, but I want you to hear it maybe a little bit differently. I'm going to read it one more time to really let this sink in how important a decision is. And I'm not reading this just for you guys, just saying I'm reading this for me to truly understand that, oh my God, all it takes is a decision and boom, the fear is gone. Relieve yourself forever of the fear of death by reaching a decision to accept death as an inescapable event. With the fear of poverty by reaching a decision to get along with whatever you can accumulate without worry. Put your foot upon the neck of fear of criticism by reaching a decision not to worry about what other people think, do, or say. Eliminate the fear of old age by reaching a decision to accept it, not as a handicap, but as a great blessing which carries with it wisdom, self control, and understanding not known to youth. Acquit yourself of the fear of ill health by the decision to forget symptoms. Master the fear of loss of love by reaching a decision to get along without love if necessary. It's all decisions are what kill off these fear. Okay, now bottom of page 355. Kill the habit of worry in all of its forms by reaching a general blanket decision that nothing which life has to offer is worth the price of worry. With this decision will come poise, peace of mind, and calmness of thought, which will bring happiness. A man whose mind is filled with fear not only destroys his own chances of intelligent action, but he transmits these destructive vibrations to the minds of all who come in contact with him and destroys also their chances. Sean, thank you, brother. I just want to say I have read possibly the most powerful paragraph I've ever read in my life, and it is on page 355 at the end of The Fear of Death. And basically, Napoleon Hill stated that to eliminate all 6 of the major ghosts of fear, it takes a definite decision, and that life will straight up never be the same from that. So even a dog or a horse knows that when its master lacks courage. Moreover, a dog or horse will pick up the vibrations of fear thrown off by its master and behave accordingly. Lower down the line of intelligence in the animal kingdom, one finds the same capacity to pick up the vibrations of fear. A honeybee immediately senses fear in the mind of a person for reasons unknown. A bee will sting the person whose mind is releasing vibrations of fear much more readily than it will molest the person whose mind registers no fear. The vibrations of fear pass from one mind to another just as quickly and as surely as the sound of the human voice passes from the broadcasting station to the receiving set of a radio and by the self same medium. Mental telepathy is a reality. Thoughts pass from one mind to another voluntarily. Whether or not this fact is recognized by either the person releasing the thoughts or the person who picks up those thoughts. The person who gives expression by word of mouth to negative or destructive thoughts is practically certain to experience the results of those words in the form of a destructive kickback. The release of destructive thought impulses alone will, without the aid of words, produces also a kickback in more ways than one. First of all, and perhaps most important to be remembered, the person who releases thoughts of a destructive nature must suffer damage through the breaking down of the faculty of creative imagination. Secondly, the presence in the mind of any destructive emotion develops a negative personality which repels people and often converts them into antagonists. The third source of damage to the person who entertains or releases negative thoughts lies in this significant fact. These thought impulses are not only damaging to others, but they embed themselves in the subconscious mind of the person releasing them and there become a part of his character. Okay, so we just stated 3 reasons why there's negative consequences or karma to the person that that releases through their mouth, through their tongue, negative or destructive thoughts. And there's three reasons, real quick, where you break down the faculty of your creative imagination, you repel people, and third is not only are these thoughts that you say, these negative words that you say, do not only do they damage others, but they literally embed themselves into your subconscious mind and therefore become a part of your character. So when they say in like the Bible, that quote or whatever about it's all in the tongue, I don't I actually don't know that quote, but it's something about like it's the power is all in the tongue, or like something like basically saying the words that you speak are pretty much very powerful. That those are three reasons why they are so powerful. So one is never through a thought merely by releasing it. When a thought is released, it spreads in every direction through the medium of the ether, but it also plants itself permanently in the subconscious mind of the person releasing it. Your business in life is presumably to achieve success. To be successful, you must find peace of mind. You must acquire the material needs of life, and above all, attain happiness. All of these evidences of success begin in the form of thought impulses. You may control your own mind. You have the power to feed it whatever thought impulses you choose. With this, privilege goes also the responsibility of using it constructively. You are the master of your own earthly destiny just as surely as you have the power to control your own thoughts. Right? That was a powerful sentence he said in the chapter on autosuggestion, right? Why is man the master of his fate and the captain of his soul? Because man has the power to control and influence his subconscious mind. And he's saying it again here. You are the master of your own earthly destiny just as surely as you have the power to control your own thoughts. You may influence, direct, and eventually control your own environment, making your life what you want it to be, or you may neglect to exercise the privilege which is yours to make your life to order, thus casting yourself upon the broad sea of circumstance, where you will be tossed hither and yon like a chip on the waves of the ocean. Boom. That is the end of the fear of death. Wow. I will say to everyone watching, especially on Facebook, go back in the recording. This was a powerful, powerful lesson on page 355, right? We literally one paragraph literally eliminated every single one of the fears. And when it comes to like, how I asked, like, would you learn what you like at the end of this? I will study this paragraph. I may actually photocopy it, rip it out, and put it on my wall, because that was possibly the most powerful thing I've ever read and like spoken out loud. I just got to say that. So I want to ask you guys, what'd you learn? What'd you like from this? Because not only did we dive deep into the fear of death, but we put a dagger into all of the six ghosts. These are ghosts, and even though they're ghosts, they are just as destructive as if they were real. And we just put a dagger into all these ghosts in this reading. Dan, this was some powerful, powerful stuff. So tomorrow, the Devil's Workshop, the seventh basic evil. If you're curious of learning about that, I'd highly suggest that you tune in tomorrow at 10 o'clock a.m. and you find out that there's like also a seventh, evil out there that you got to be on the lookout for if you truly want to, win in all areas of your life and achieve like, just a total level of success, peace of mind, and happiness you have never achieved before. So I highly recommend being on that show. Definitely watch the recording to this. I'm not even gonna like with all ego aside, this was possibly one of the most powerful readings I've ever done in my life. And yeah, I highly recommend you watch this. Um, you know, this book, they say it's created more millionaires for a reason. And in the book, he mentions that you don't truly understand it until you've mastered all 13 principles of this philosophy, including the six basic ghosts of fear, and just putting a real dagger in them. Right now that we're getting to the end of the book, for me, being a person who can teach this all, it is really wrapping up, coming together, this philosophy for me. And I'm super grateful that I am given an opportunity to share this with you guys, because this is life-changing information right here. And I really hope that you are either able to comprehend it at the level I am. I know I read it out loud on live, so I will be absorbing this information to a different level. However, maybe you can do your own form of teaching it, right, to somebody else, because it just hits differently. So yeah, that's that. I want to leave it at that. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe to my YouTube. It's Michael Music, uh spelled Muzyk. I know it's spelled differently. And yeah, man, I don't know when you guys are watching the recording. I don't know if it's 1,000 years. I may be gone by the time you've watched this, but it's all good. I want to thank you all. YouTube, Facebook, until we meet again in time and space, I will see you guys soon enough. Thank you for tuning in. And bye for now. See you at the next event.